You know how bold and racist you have to be to post something like this on Twitter? This guy Darren Beatty said, "Competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. Unfortunately, our entire national ideology is predicated on coddling the feelings of women and minorities and demoralizing competent white men." You know how racist and proud Donald Trump would have to be to appoint the person who said this to the State Department? Well, as a shock to absolutely no one, Trump did just that. But you know what? It gets worse. You know how I often talk about black conservatives and how pathetic and embarrassing they are? Well, let's talk about Tim Scott. This dude shucked and jived on the campaign trail for Donald Trump for months. Y'all remember when he was out there yelling, "If you love Donald Trump, let me hear you scream." Y'all remember Donald Trump pretending he was going to choose him as a vice presidential pick, only to ignore him for that and any other position in his cabinet. Well, this dude, Darren Beatty, he refers to Tim Scott as affirmative action Tim Scott. In this tweet, he said, "Low status Steven simps for affirmative action Tim Scott." He thinks the higher ups won't call low status Steven a racist anymore. Low status Steven calls his superiors racist for not loving affirmative action Tim Scott. But no one cares because he's too low status. Sad. He also said in another tweet that the only reason Republicans pretend to like Tim Scott is because he makes them feel less racist. So basically what I've been saying for years about Tim Scott and Byron Donalds, which is they put a black face on their racism and it makes them feel all warm and cozy about being racist. So instead of Byron Donalds and Tim Scott, Trump has now chosen sexual predators, drunks, drug addicts, and racists to be in his cabinet. But don't worry, I'm sure there will be a picture of Tim Scott and this guy Darren Beatty standing there all smiles like he's done with all of Donald Trump's other cabinet picks, because Tim Scott is going to buck dance and bootlick until Donald Trump finally loves him back. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in they heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.